Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Blokes podcast presented by Forged Irish Stout.
Forged Irish Stout is the world's creamiest stout set to conquer the world. Forged in Dublin, Ireland by Conor McGregor.
Speaking of Conor, we have our boy. He's basically just like the third co-host at this point. Like, he's just here all the time. We love
Trace
having
Bloke.
him. Trace Blokes. He's got his shirt on today, which I'm sure that the tarp will probably come off at some point. But welcome back to the show, bud.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
How was your week? How have you been? We saw you during Pickle Pandemonium.
Yes.
Which was amazing. How have you been?
I've been great. I just got back from Nashville, doing a little work, getting Young Gravy set up to have some training on tour.
Oh, nice. Young Gravy.
Young Gravy. I love gravy. Gravy's like the most underrated thing ever, by the way. Young Gravy's great, but gravy as a whole.
Oh, we're talking about the
Even normal gravy.
Yeah,
Young Gravy.
Young Gravy's great. I think normal gravy's underrated.
Wait, do you call like pasta sauce gravy?
No, I call it sauce.
All right, thanks.
I call it sauce.
How do you define gravy? Now, I guess we have to say that.
I think anything that's thick.
Should I just call you gravy from now on? Marky Gravy.
Fucking gravy pea, baby.
Gravy P.
Gravy pea.
It's actually kind of sick.
I know, dude. I should go on tour with him. He should just have me open up. I just do nothing except pour gravy on myself right before he goes on.
That would be wild. That would really be his target demographic. Or they would love that.
Just me.
I'm old gravy.
Vintage gravy.
Yes.
Vintage gravy. And he's ripped gravy.
Yes.
I'm like thin. I'm just soup.
I'm so, yeah, you're not great.
Oh, don't
say that in front of Hurley.
Say it in front of Hurley. Yeah.
Hurley gets upset about soup.
Does he hate gravy too?
I don't know.
Hurley,
I'm
what's
different on gravy, but I don't usually put it on my mashed potatoes,
Wait, you eat your mashed potatoes dry?
just with butter.
Yeah.
Wait, when you put the gravy on, then you just see turkey?
I mean,
He doesn't talk about that on live podcast.
yeah, maybe turkey.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
yeah.
indifferent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure you return that GoPro I left in your bedroom. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, my bad. Whatever. Disregard. How was your week and weekend, Jeff?
I did not play with gravy.
You didn't?
No.
Hopefully, it was better than Shannon Sharp's.
Oh, man. The best line out of that was today. I don't know if you saw.
I saw.
I don't know if you've heard, Conor. Well, let's get the backstory. Shannon Sharp had his phone, went to a hotel room or his house or whatever.
Phone in his hand.
Phone in his hand, hit the Instagram live button to all his followers, put it down on the bedside table, and you just heard him going to work.
He put in
With himself or with someone else?
with someone else.
Someone else, yeah.
Yeah, he put in some. There was some phrases in that.
Oh, wow.
That old thing. I think it said, "You gonna get this dick?" I think is one of the phrases.
The best part of it is the people commented it. Hey, Unc, you left it on. Unc, turn it off. We can hear you.
Yeah, there was people trying to get in touch with him to make him. It was on for a while.
Yeah.
How does that happen on accident? I have never even come close to Instagram and live on accident.
I don't know. I'd assume he was like looking at Instagram before he put his phone down and like. I mean, he's an ex-football player, so he's got to have some mittens, right?
Yeah.
So he probably just hit something like with his phone in his hand on like this. I mean, I guess we can do that. We can figure. Yeah, pull up your.
Like, what do I have to do to go? All right.
So right after he came out and said I was hacked, sorry about that, and then about 2 hours later he was like,
He took it
I'm
on the
sorry. Yeah, he took it like a champ, and he goes, the best line was when he's talking to Ocho Cinco, and he goes, nobody was hurt during this process, but somebody definitely needed an ice bag.
yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. Did you figure out how quick it is to get to Instagram?
It's actually it's a lot easier than I thought.
Oh, really?
Even if you're just on like stories or whatever, like if it was on live, I just tapped the button and it started counting down like 3, 2, 1. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh no. So
Especially if you have sausage fingers.
just absolute mittens.
Yeah.
So you're saying this? His response by saying, "Yeah, I definitely hit it on accident," probably feels real.
Yeah, it makes sense now.
Well, but Jeff, your week was it better than Shannon Sharp's?
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good week.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. His weekend might have been, his Monday might have been better than mine.
It sounds like you had the best Monday of all time.
Yeah. Solid weekend. I mean, continued to this week. I mean, went to a little concert last night. My friends, boys like girls, played at MGM with Dashboard Confessionals. Great time.
They got a couple bops.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they brought it back. It was good. It was a great set. Yeah, I haven't seen the boys in a little bit, so it was good seeing them. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, it was
Love
good.
that.
How about you?
I played golf. I played golf yesterday
Where at?
in Braintree Country Club. The goat. They have goats on the property, which is my favorite part of the course.
Wait, did you tag a goat with a golf ball?
No. I actually, for the first time in my life, I played the best golf ever, and it was wild. I was playing to a point where I thought that I could have entered a professional tournament. That's how good I was playing. You can ask anybody. You can ask Maddie. You can ask Dylan.
Did you get new golf spikes or something?
No. And I was using rental clubs that were basically like pulled from the trash. They were just the worst rental clubs ever.
What juice were you sipping on?
I had a couple of high noons.
Yeah.
And I had a twisted tea, a twee.
Okay.
Twees are
Tweet
good.
might be it.
That might be.
The swing juice was active.
You know, when we talk about rental clubs, I like borrowed my friend's clubs, who's a really good golfer. And every single time I hit it, it felt like I shanked it because they were like pro type clubs. Like the sweet spot is so small for people who can actually have the same swing each time.
Right.
And then when I get rental clubs, they're like, hey, here's for your average person. I'm like, whew,
You're like, I'm the best
this is
ever.
fantastic. I should just strictly use rental clubs.
Yeah. So I did the rental club thing, and I played the best golf that I've ever played.
Amazing.
What'd you shoot?
So I was kind of bummed because I was so close to breaking 90. I shot a 91.
On 9 holes?
In
Not bad,
yeah,
buddy.
in three holes. I went 45 on the front, and then whatever that math adds up to on
I believe 46 would give you 91.
46. Yeah.
Holy
so
math.
I went into hole 18 and I was under by, I was like 86. So I was like, okay, I can break 90 here. And then I shit the bed.
And it was all in your head, buddy.
I was so excited to break 90 that I just took a swing off the like my driver on 18 was a fucking missile. Like it came off the club and I was like, oh my, this is, first of all, it's never going to land. I don't know what I was thinking. This thing is in orbit. And I inevitably lost it. So I had to in one, out one, up 3. And then I just literally could not putt on 18 to save my life, which is everybody's issue is putting unless you're playing mini golf. And I went 91, but still proud of myself. Happy. It was a blast.
Love that.
Yeah. Had a couple hot dogs at the turn.
Dogs?
Dogs?
You know, a couple
glizzies.
glizzies. I actually got some soft pretzels as well. They have like little pretzel bites, these little mini soft
All
pretzel
right.
bites.
Soft pretzel, right? Your options are warm melted cheese, like the nacho cheese,
Hey.
just like yellow. A good, like, spicy mustard, or raw dog in it.
I was gonna make a raw dog comment. I don't raw dog anything. No, just kidding. I raw dog everything.
Thanks, Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, he has better cardio. I might actually have better cardio than Shannon Sharp based on listening to that video, which is terrible because I'm built like mashed potatoes
And gravy.
and gravy. I'm a dipper, but I also will do both. I'll dip nacho cheese, and I'll also do like the pub mustard with a horseradish, kind of.
Yeah.
So I do both. I'm both. I'm a both guy.
We're both guy.
What about you?
I mean, I prefer A. Like if it's like the hot melted fake cheese.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go soft pretzel, it's like that's what I want. And I mean, the other isn't bad, but I gotta go A.
Yeah.
There's a place across from Memoir at the casino called On Deck or Upper Deck or something in that.
That's also what Shannon Sharp calls his sex moves. On deck.
They make a jumbo soft pretzel that is in a pizza box. It must be for like 15 people.
I was gonna say, who does it feed?
Yeah, a small village.
That's a small village.
Shannon Sharp episode.
Shannon Sharp post sex meal. A pretzel to feed 15. What is? I mean, like, what do you eat after you've had love?
After I make love, I go to sleep.
Okay,
Mostly,
go right
yeah.
to sleep. No snacks.
No, in fact, I'm usually
We know that you leave your socks on. So
on purpose. Actually, so last night I just had one on my right foot because I did run club, And I had new shoes, so I cut the back of my heel.
Oof.
And so I only had one sock on last night, and I was pretty proud of that one.
That's pretty cool. That's a new move. That's kinky, bro. One sock.
But I'm normally after sweet love making asleep in 15 to 20 seconds afterwards.
Just immediately out.
It's just
you have like post bang narcolepsy.
yeah. I think that's what does it for me too.
That's fair. I'm like almost accurate to that timing as well. I just need like a sip of water. What about you? You're just like, I need a sip of gravy. Gravy. I need a sip of gravy. You can be doing the turkey gravy post love maker.
Who's gravy?
Not my gravy.
Have you ever seen it on accident? Yeah, me neither.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure, buddy. Just favorite line.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Speak for yourself, buddy. So as we're talking about food, and before we hop into the segments about you and your recent travels, a young lady has hit 90. She's eaten at every 99 restaurant. Jeff and I just found out, which is kind of a bummer. There's only 97 99s.
Do you know when she first started, there were 104? So there were like 6 that closed, 7 that
So
closed.
she put some of them out of business.
What does this person look like?
I don't know.
I've seen
Someone who
pictures.
looks like she ate at 97, 99s?
I don't know.
Mid 40s, looks like she works in an office building. Yeah, it looks like she loves a 99. They threw a party for her with balloons and stuff. And she just says, they were interviewing her. They asked her order at every 99. Knowing 99s and been to a few in my life,
Couple.
you got to get the golden wings, hey?
Yeah.
And then
Beaver
you go
wings.
with something like a burger, you go with something like maybe soft pretzel, something of substance. Her order was ridiculous. It was popcorn, French onion soup, which is okay. I do like French onion soup. Might get it there on the night. A side salad and a glass of red wine.
That's it. That's the only thing she gets.
And every one.
Now, when you say popcorn, I've never been to a 99. Sorry.
Never in your life?
Do they have
Oh, we're gonna have to take you
the scoop and dip stuff, or how is it presented?
in a bowl. They give it to you in a bowl right when you sit down. There's like a bowl of popcorn there ready for you.
Like a normal restaurant would be a bread bowl. They go popcorn.
Yeah, they go popcorn.
Okay.
They go popcorn.
I fucking hate popcorn.
Do you really?
Yeah, big time. Dude.
Learn something new about you every day.
Yeah. Whoa, that was an aggressive.
That was,
dude. That's not usually something that is.
That's why I don't go to movie theaters, because I don't like the smell of popcorn. I don't like popcorn.
You don't even like the smell of popcorn
No, I haven't been to movie theaters in about 8-9 years.
because of popcorn,
I think so.
or because movies and theaters are expensive.
No, it has nothing to do with money. I don't know.
I don't like that there's usually one way in and one way out. This would be the place. Like if I wanted to smoke a bunch of people, this is where I would do it. So I'm always on edge, looking at the door, usually carrying a firearm, being like, I'm gonna have to save everyone when this happens. So I never really enjoy the movie.
You're real life Liam Neeson.
I'm just waiting for that, hoping it doesn't happen.
And this is why I don't go to movie theaters.
Well, you just have to go with him, because if you go with Conor, you're safe.
How many other Connors are in there that aren't
None. There's absolutely nothing other one.
that are carrying firearms that aren't as well versed in firearm safety in there?
Probably a very small percentage.
Yeah, I don't think it's and for a lot of it, people are like, oh, it's a gun-free zone. I'm like, yeah, that's usually where I'd want to carry, considering that's where 99% of mass shootings happen. They're like, oh, let's go to a place where no one else is going to be able to do the same thing as me. I mean, let's not get into politics of that, but
Yeah. We can't get into politics on this show. We'll get canceled immediately.
Oh yeah.
If you could go to one restaurant, if you could dive into one restaurant and go to all of them, what would it be? Hurley had a good one earlier.
What did he say?
Rainforest Cafe.
Well, I didn't say that. I just said I saw
he's back
someone.
Yeah. Okay,
Did it.
buddy.
Yeah, whatever, buddy.
Whatever, bud.
Speak for yourself.
All right, then give it to us, Hurley. What would you go to?
Texas Roadhouse kind of slaps.
Texas Roadhouse
Or
does slap.
actually, you know what? I would do Cheesecake Factory. The diversity of their menu is crazy. You would never
It's-
have to repeat the same meal.
No. Everybody thinks they have an enormous menu. It's just 5 different dishes with like they're all the same dishes with one ingredient added or one subtracted.
I can't do it. I can't do Cheesecake Factory. I can't. It's like the menu fucks me up.
Yeah.
It's too big. I don't like that. It's the size of like the Bible. It's literally there's scripture in it.
Yes.
I can't have it.
The Old Testament cheesecake, New Testament cheesecake.
When I was in San Diego, they had an Apple. They had a bunch of them, but on Mondays they had Military Mondays at Applebee's,
Hell yeah.
and I had a friend who for some reason thought it was Applesbee's, and so we always just jokingly called it that. And then at a small little establishment called Deja Vu, there's also Military Mondays, which had just screaming deals. But you go in
Did
there.
Shannon Sharp used to go there?
And it would be very, very likely. Actually, I said that was the first one where I saw they had midget strippers. That's what they called it at the time. I don't know if we're allowed to say that word, but yeah, it was a little Sassy Cassie and Sizzlin' Sierra, and it was
Wow.
It was pretty awesome. But at this Applebee's,
Sassy Cassie is a fucking epic one.
That is an epic name for a.
yeah, and they were two of the different types. So they had I think someone would call it like a dwarf, where it was like they had like normal portion. It was just like a shortened but like a little bit more normal size, and then whatever you'd call the other one that like looked like a 4-year-old.
Oh.
And just like really small. And what was amazing is
That gets a
she
little
would-
weird.
She would climb up the pole with her, like the flats of her feet and her hands, and she would go up the pole like that, and then just slide down. She had
Fucking Sassy Cassie.
it was awesome. But anyways, with the Applebee's, they had these $5 beer buckets, but they were like mini beers. So you get like a Bud Heavy and a bottle that was
Like a grenade?
6 inches tall. Yeah, and you just
Made for a toddler.
felt and
Made for Sassy Cassie.
multiple times.
Sizzling Sierra.
People would be like,
Sizzling Sierra.
this is a family establishment, because it was like like some of my like guys in the military, we'd all be there just like smashing LA water, or it's like a Mai Tai, and $1 or $5 beer bucket, like single grenades. Oh, it was
That's unreal.
good. So sorry, that was Applebee's.
I love that. I love the Applebee's.
Where would you go, Monkey B?
I was gonna say Red Robin for a while because of the endless fries and the amounts of burgers that you can choose from. But I also haven't been
Robin.
to. Yeah,
Yum.
yeah. Red Robin's got to be up there, I think. But realistically speaking, and who I am as a human being, I would say Hooters.
That's actually a pretty good one.
Every
one.
Hooters. The conversation.
Would you
there
collect
is
the T-shirts?
Yeah, 100%, and collect my morals as I walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, every Hooters. That would just sounds fun. Conversation there is always really good.
Yes.
The beers are very cold.
I actually think their wings are pretty good.
Me too.
Agreed.
I don't know why Hooters gets a bad rap on their wings. I think their wings are great. The sauces are good. Mm-hmm. And the beer is always freezing cold. And they're this big. They're the size of Sassy Cassie.
There's 420 Hooters in existence right now.
Wow.
And that's global. That's not just a U.S.
For too many, bro.
Imagine. I'd have to do that. That's like, what, 3 or 4 years worth of going to how many Hooters a week? 4? I'd have to go to like 4 Hooters a week.
To get it done in a year?
Where do you think would be like the optimal? Where do you think would be the pinnacle Hooters?
Definitely Hawaii.
Is there a Hooters in London, England? Just kidding.
Tijuana.
Oh yeah, I think. Okay, Hurley, look this up. What's like the most exotic Hooters? I'd say probably if there's one in Hawaii, that one's got to be unbelievable.
Oh, man. Let's go there now.
Like any tropical. If there's one in the
I'm a little afraid
Bahamas,
to Google
There was
most
one-
exotic Hooters.
There was one
Where is
in
it?
St.
Where is it,
Thomas.
where'd you say, Hurley?
I said I'm a little afraid to Google most exotic Hooters.
It's fine, dude. I search
on the
worse things on.
company studio computer.
It's fine, dude.
Restaurant.
You're the producer of podcasts, my friend. You just have to. I didn't say erotic, Hurley. I said exotic. Yeah, one in
can't
Hawaii
find
would be
anything.
cool.
There was one in St. Thomas.
Was there?
It was a lot of like there'd be like transplants. So people that were from like Hooters corporate got to like go down there and work. There's a few locals there as well.
Had you go to Hooters corporate headquarters?
Yeah, John Daly has an office there. The golfer, like incredible. So when you were there, well, how would you rate that Hooters establishment?
Out of 10?
Yeah,
3.
3. So
Yeah, not in an insult to.
is that not including location?
Yeah, so the location was like right down in Haven site. It wasn't. Oh, you know what the funnest part was? They had a sign that was really low, and they didn't have the sign guard on. So we'd sit at this place called Mojo's across the street and see what we could change the sign into saying.
Oh no!
And it was the funnest game. You'd finish work and you'd go sit on these swings at Mojo's Chicken, and you'd look over at the Hooters sign and be like, "What can we change it into?" And I don't think they cared, but we would change it into just ridiculous things with the letters that they already had present. It was awesome.
like the marquee letters you can slide in and slide out.
Oh yeah,
That's incredible. I love that. Yeah, Hooters for me. And what was it for you?
That was a good one. That was really good.
I don't know.
You look like a Boston Market kind of fella.
I think the hardest one would be Dunkin' Donuts would be a hard one. There are a million of them.
Yeah, that would be impossible.
For me, let's go with you know what? I'm going high end. We're going Capitol Grills around.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going Capitol Grills.
You're going to be broke as fuck at the end of that.
I already am.
You get like a steak and a cream spinach cost you literally your firstborn.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what wouldn't be a bad one? Yard House.
Yard House is good.
Yeah.
Yard Houses have pretty consistent like food where you're not like, hey, this is the best food ever, but you're like, that did it.
That's like the 99 of the South. Right? Yard House is like the 99 of the South for sure.
Every Wahlburgers. I think go to every Wahlburgers around.
I don't know if there's a ton of those.
There isn't. Just go to like
All
5.
3 of them.
All three. You
I
could do
did it in a day.
You could do a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, actually, they have one in Springfield, so you might have to trek. You might have to trek out to the old hometown of mine to hit the Wahlburgers, which is located at a casino.
Ooh.
Yeah, not bad. You could do a little gambling and then do a little Wahlburgers.
I like that.
Well, since we have you, Conor, let's dive into some of the stuff that you've most recently been doing. First one being...
But besides the things you do with one sock on.
Besides the one sock incident. You were just on tour with one of my favorite comedians of all time. And people always look at me and say, oh, hey, you're kind of like him. And I'm like, he's way funnier than me. Same build, though, I think, right? If you look at me and you're envisioning this fella, you're like, probably the same. No.
I've been seeing you with your shirt off.
We'll save that for...
Do it.
We'll save that for IG Live. So you were just you were just on tour with Bert Kreischer. You want to dive in and talk a little bit about how that came to be, like what his day-to-day looked like from your end, and just whatever else you want to share. We have a picture here that we can't show.
No, you can show that.
We can show it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I guess you guys are both wearing.
Put it
towels.
on. We'll find that at our Instagram clip. We can talk about how that happened.
Both wearing towels.
So I got a message from a friend of mine that was like, hey, I had someone reach out. They're looking for celebrity training. Their trainer canceled last minute, and you're the only person that I know that does this. A buddy of mine, his name's Josh Bridges. And so he connected me with his assistant, with Bert's assistant. His name is Peter. And it was like, hey, have you had experience with this? And I was like, yep, here's the list of people that I've trained. I've been on tour. I've been on tour buses. They're like, awesome. Can we fly you out tonight? And I was like, no. Because I had a wedding that weekend. And I travel a lot. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. And so when I make commitments to my girlfriend, it was like we had a wedding. It was on her side. It was like her friend that was getting married. I was like, I can't skip out on that. So I sent another trainer for the first week, and then I joined a week later, met them out on tour. And I wasn't sure what to expect because I didn't know that much about Bert. After accepting getting all the paperwork and that stuff done, I watched a couple of his Netflix specials, and I was like, oh, what I knew him most was that Barstool Sports video where he's like, I love drinking. And he's like, I will do anything that I can to continue to be able to drink. And I'm like, oh, this is what he's doing. I'm that thing. This is great. And so day one, it was in Ohio. It was in Canton, Ohio. And the show was at the Hall of Fame, like the NFL Hall of Fame venue. And we had a huge gym, and I hadn't like really met him yet. It was just like, hey, here's what the training times are going to be. And he came shirt off, and I was actually just finishing a workout. And
you definitely didn't have a shirt on either.
No, for sure. Dude. It was hot out there.
0%.
And so the first communication, and especially initially when you meet like a new client, you're like, is this person set in their ways and they just want someone to hold them accountable, or is this person open for what you have to offer? And I knew early on from like 10 seconds of conversation, I'm like, this is going to go really well. He was like, whatever you want, here's what we did, but I'm feeling good. Here's the things that I'm doing. Here's what I need. And I was like, awesome. So him and then one of his other assistants hit the workout that day. Whitney Cummings came in. I'd never even heard of her, but she came in.
Cummings.
She came in a little bit later, and she's like, I didn't want to hop in, but we had chatted about doing workouts again, which we ended up training a bunch throughout the tour. But so Bert, we work out. He goes back, and then the show is on, and there's like Tony Hinchcliffe is on the road.
We
a ton of different like
big
comics.
Fans.
So I'm just sitting there like watching, and Bert's like, hey, you want to grab a beer? And one of the things, I think I've even spoken about this before, one of the things that I do on tour is as long as I am within my moral guidelines, I'll do whatever the artist is doing. And it kind of lowers that barrier of if they went out and partied the night before and I went to sleep at 9 p.m. and then I think we should train at 10 a.m. and they're like, well, you were asleep and all this stuff. So I was like, sure, let's share a beer together. And he was like, man, that was a great workout today. He's like, really like watch the show, enjoy it. Whatever you need to do on this, if you want more beers or any of that stuff. It's like, this is great. And he's like, oh, Tony, you got to meet this guy. He's my trainer. This is like day one. Like making sure that I was introduced to everyone. His whole crew was nice. And you guys have been around the touring world. Like sometimes there's some salty people that are in touring and you're like, this artist is really awesome, but everyone else is miserable on this.
For sure.
He takes care of all of his staff. After each event, there's an after party. And it's not for people to buy tickets for. It is for his crew and the other comics, like be able to like wind down and spend time together. And he goes and he has drinks and he's just so like grateful for what he has in his life. His wife is there with him. She helps like run and manage the whole tour. She's on the phone messaging different comics about who wants to come and different stuff. And he just involves her in every aspect of his life. And there were multiple times on tour where we were sitting down. He's like, let's grab this. We got this thing of moonshine from someone else. Let's all like grab a sip. He's like, how amazing is this? We're sitting here with the best people in the world, having a drink, enjoying it. Like he genuinely loves his life. He enjoys having a few cocktails, but he is really dedicated to training. So the other thing that is, if I don't get along with the artist or whoever I'm training, the next hardest thing is if they don't train. And I'm just kind of out there. I'm like, what am I here for? That's when I like really start to get like almost like lonely or like this point where I'm like, there's other people that I could be working with and helping. Right. Every time he was like, he had a cold plunge, a portable sauna, he had equipment, he had a recovery area, everything that gets set up was training. There were sometimes it was like multiple times a day. And it was probably like 4 shows in. We got a really good workout and we got to have a little bit more of a conversation because I don't want to be a punisher. I don't want to like stick around when he's doing his own thing. So I kind of like go back to my bus area and we had an awesome workout. And afterwards we're sitting at the after party and he's like, he was going to Nashville the next day because he's going for the Beer Olympics with like busting with the boys. Beer Olympics.
Yeah. I saw you in the background of a bunch of people at the Beer Olympics, like Instagrams.
So the day before, I was going to have like 2 days off in Indianapolis because he was going there. And then there were like 2 theater shows where he was prepping for his Netflix special. And before that, he's like, let's get you. I was like, I want you on the skeleton crew for the theater shows. So I want to work out on those. And they're like, okay. And so like Marcy made the changes. And then we're sitting there and it's about midnight the day before he leaves to Nashville. And he's like, I wish you were coming to Nashville with me. Like, I've been having such great workouts. I was like, have such good energy from you. And I was like, yeah, me too. And he goes, can you chug a beer? And I go, yeah, I can chug a beer.
As a matter of fact, I can.
He's like, you like out of a can or a cup? I go, cup. And he was like, Kyle, get Conor a beer.
The little test.
Beer in a cup. And I just
one shot this thing.
And he was like, Marcy, get Conor on. And she's like, well, there's the first flight is oversold. You can put him on standby, but then he'll fly out afterwards. He's like, go get your stuff. You're on bus 1 tonight. We're going there. So it
That's
was
so sick.
So then Joe DeRosa and myself were going to be a team competing at the Beer Olympics. And so everything, I was like, okay, I got to like readjust. I was actually really excited because there was like, in one of the areas that we had a day off was a theme park, and I was just going to go theme park by myself the entire time.
Hell yeah, dude. Solo, just like the solo theme park.
But next thing you know, we're on a tour bus dropping us off at...
And he also takes weapons to movie theaters. No solo theme parks. Jeez.
Hey, relax, okay? You bring it out of context. The bus drops us off at the Detroit airport. We go from Albany, New York to the Detroit airport overnight. We get on this flight. We go down there. We go out in Nashville, have just an awesome time. He includes me with everything he's doing. Nope, you're coming. You're doing this. Just makes me feel so welcoming. The next day, we train in the morning, and then we go to the Taylor's house for like busing with the boys. And I'm like, I don't know anyone here. I'm not important. There's nothing I'm going to say that someone else is going to be like, oh, cool. I'm just going to kind of be in the background. And since Joe and I like didn't go like check in, they had just given the spots away to other people. And Joe was kind of like, that's actually probably for the best. So we were just hanging out there. And the two people that I knew from before were Waka Flocka and then David Bakhtiari, who I had met at one of my friend's weddings down in Texas.
Played for Green Bay.
Played for Green Bay. And
he also rips beers. They put him on jumbotrons, and he just sends cups of beers.
Oh yeah,
crushes it.
Oh, unreal! And they're not even like the regular size beers. They're like the tall boys that you get.
I saw him drink 3 beers out of a boot in 6 seconds at that event.
Guy's an absolute.
Were people absolutely hammered?
Hammered. Big Cat was thrown up in the bushes. Michael Chandler, who who was supposed to be fighting Conor McGregor that Saturday, is armbarring people. I'm just sitting by the pool with like a beer, and then Waka would look over and he goes, "Another tequila shot?" And I was like, "Yes, Mr. Flocka."
Yes, Mr. Waka.
I go hard.
Oh, dude, it was such a cool experience. And then we leave from there, get on a private jet, go to Lima, Ohio, and he's supposed to go on for, I want to say it's like 50 minutes. And even during the theater shows, he's like, hey, this is prep for my Netflix. You're going to hear some of these on this. Just please no recording. I'm also going to be communicating with my wife back here about what jokes work and don't, and I'm going to try some stuff out. And I think he was on for an hour and 45 minutes.
Just locked in.
Wow. Having a great time. And then at the end of it, when he was like, got us all his material out, everyone's like, the machine. He's like, everyone's heard that. And they're like, no, do it again. And so he's like, starts the intro to the machine, and people start going nuts. He's like talking to us backstage. He's like, hey, can I get another drink? He was like making fun of us because me and this other guy who works for him, who was like an army officer, we were like watching like war movies because it was just 2 buses. It was just him and I on like bus, just like watching these war movies at night.
That's awesome.
I mean, I could tell kind of like the whole journey story all the way through, but what it really comes down to is that he provides a lot of work for other people. Like this Fully Loaded tour, all the other comedians only had incredible things to say about him. Everyone had a good time. Every venue that he went to, he had golf simulators, water slides. They would go boating in the Ozarks. He always had activities, go-kart racing, Top Golf.
That's awesome.
That everyone would do. Yeah. And he started including me in more. And I would sometimes like start to gamify things, being like, all right, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it as a challenge in this, which he loved.
Yeah.
And
I saw you post a water slide thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it was like a down and back, and you kind of turned it into like a little fitness event, but a little bit of like a team challenge.
Yeah. Because it was pissing rain beforehand. And Bert was like, he had just come out of doing a podcast. He just took his shirt off, and he's like, let's go down this stuff. And so everyone else started to. And then, it wasn't just the comics. Like, it's like tour managers, production managers. Everyone just feels comfortable enough where it's like, we're all having a good time. And it was so fun. Like, he's just such like a vibrant personality. Everything that he is on his podcast, on his comedy, all of that stuff is exactly who he is as a person.
That's so amazing to hear.
It really is, right? Because when you think about a guy like him who is such a powerful face in that world, and you see that he's like laughing and chuckling. He's on his Instagram. He's like always crying about something. He did an interview with Teddy Swims where Teddy Swims is singing Lose Control, and he's crying on his couch, right? And you go, okay, this guy is real. But every single celebrity has a behind-the-scenes portion of their life that might not be the nicest, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool, and we work in this industry. We see it all the time, right? Where it's like the front-facing persona of a celebrity is this larger than life, happy, and then you see him in the back, and you're like, how are you so upset? Like what? And everybody has bad days,
Of course.
but it just doesn't seem like Bert has bad days, and I'm sure he does. But when you see the stuff that obviously all the front-facing stuff and the comedy specials and Two Bears, One Cave, all of that stuff just doesn't seem fake. Like none of it seems fake, and it's really cool to see that you were able to go on tour and really, give more insight on like that's really him. That's his real life.
At the end, we had kind of we just connected about a lot of different stuff. And he came out, he was so genuine being like, hey man, I know you have a lot of stuff going on. I would love to have you out in LA. If you want to come out for the first week of every month and do some training with me, if you want to fly your daughter out, because when I filmed the Netflix special with him, I wasn't supposed to be there. He had asked me to come out. And I was like, I have my daughter that weekend. He's like, we'll fly them all out. We'll fly you guys all out to Florida. And it was like the drop of the hat. And he did other stuff like that for his friends. Like Dave Attell was like, oh, I have to get back to this part, and I looked at flights, and I can't get back to New York at this time. And he's like, well, let me look up some stuff really quick. He's like, I'll fly you guys private. I'll get a private jet from here if you want to go one more show. And he's like, all right, I won't charge you for this then. And it was like, he was just like, yes, he just wanted to give. And,
right,
and
that's amazing.
My favorite story, and this is the one with the photo, is we were in Alabama playing a show, and so we went to the Floribama bar. We were actually going to go boating, but it was kind of rain and lightning, so we ended up just hanging there,
right,
having some drinks there. But when we got back to the venue, he was like, "Come sit down with me. Let's smoke a cigar." And we're just like listening to music, and he's like, "Man, these guys are so good." And it wasn't like a thing where we weren't on camera; it was just him and I sitting there. And so later, we went to the floor. It was the final tour party. And one of his assistants, I don't think liked me. She probably was indifferent, was just working. But I feel like because I was kind of the new guy and I was hanging out with Bert, she was like, okay, man, move along. I was trying to tag along, but I'm like, no, Bert asked me to be here, so I don't know.
Right.
But again, that was just my thought process. She was super sweet. I just think she didn't like me. So it's 1:45. I'm kind of hanging around, making sure that people aren't walking up to Bert. He's having a conversation with someone. So me and his security got along really well. And I was just kind of sitting there, just kind of hanging, but kind of being where someone would have to walk around me to get there. He comes up to me at one point in time. He's like, don't get back on the bus until, or it's at the end of the night, he was just like, wait for me here. Don't get back on the bus. I was like, roger that. So 2 a.m. rolls around. Where Floribama bar was really cool. Half of it's in Alabama, half of it's in Florida.
That's awesome.
Half of it closes at 2 a.m. And then there's the other side of the bar, which can be open because it's in Florida. It was such a cool spot.
Did Sassy Cassie come out at the closing?
Yeah.
She might have.
They just moved from one. They just moved from one side to the other to collect more money.
So they.
Everybody shuffles over.
So the assistant comes up. She's like, "Hey, you got to get back on the bus. It's a 2 a.m. bus call." I'm like, "Hey, Bert just told me to wait here. That's just what I'm doing." And Bert's, he's having a great time. He's hammering drinks. And he comes over to me and he's like, let's get in the water. I said, roger that, Bert. So we start walking over and he's like, we doing this naked? I go, roger that, Bert. Close down, and I just beeline straight to the water. And then there's just people still around.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, did Bert just run into the ocean naked? So as people are starting to come out, like Leanne ran out there, they were laughing, having the best time. We all get out. I had my stuff, I'm covering up. I wasn't gonna put everything on. I was all sandy, and the assistant brought Bert a towel, and so Bert had wrapped up, and he's like, oh man, he's like, here, just he's like, Rob, carry his stuff, and we'll walk with the towel so you have coverage. So we have this towel, both just covering our fronts, both backside fully exposed. And we walked through the parking lot of this bar where there's multiple people. And he's just he was having the best time ever. It didn't matter. It was and he's so genuinely him that he doesn't have to put on this persona to where he has to hide this or apologize. Hey, sorry, I had too many drinks. I got naked, went in the ocean. It was a bad. No, it's everyone's yeah, that's what Bert does.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he gets back on the bus. We all get back on. I'm that was just he just wants to have a good time.
Yeah, it's fucking.
And he's made himself a life where he can do that type of stuff. He can provide for his family. He can be an awesome dad, an awesome husband, an awesome business partner. I have nothing but incredible things to say
love
about
that.
him.
We do
love that.
We do. We also love Bert in the show. It's I went to his show at TD Garden last time he was here. And same thing, like the intro was him just like sitting on a toilet, I think, or something like that. Like it's pretty much completely naked. So when you're telling that story, and we had heard a little bit of the story loosely before, and we got the picture today. We'll post the picture. The picture will make the thumbnail, I think.
Yes.
But it's like when you watch that or you see that and you're talking about it, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't even a bit anymore. This is his life.
I saw him about 3 or 4 years ago live, and it was just unbelievable. Yeah.
I made the team after that show, after the show that he did at the Garden. When he does the machine joke, when he did it at the Garden, they just flashed as many strobes as they could behind him, right? So it was just a wall of strobes every time he said machine. So I actually had to leave the Garden, go to work, and then work a regular event.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I just said, hey, Ben, every time I say yell machine, can you just hit the strobes, like
Yes.
hit them forever? So I just walked on stage and I yelled, I'm the machine. And all of a sudden it was just strobes like crazy. I was just like,
yes,
that's really cool.
This has got to be what it feels.
This has got to be what it feels like. I was like, this is really cool.
Another thing that amazed me on it is how much work he puts into the comedy. It's where, they're like, oh, he's telling stories. This is actually something I haven't even really thought about or talked about. But after the Pittsburgh show, he had invited me at one point in time. This is before we had started really connecting. He was like, hey, come in. A bunch of the Steelers players are going to come in. I want to introduce you to them. So afterwards, he's like, oh, come back in the green room. I don't want to be in his space in that.
Do you get your own green room on tour, or you're a busker?
There's every green room it's like, hey, there's production, here's content, here's all this. So I just kind of hang around. And so he
we got a couple idiots outside the window if you saw us.
After the Steelers show, we're sitting back there and he's like, man, when I make that joke about Leanne, because he had a joke on his Netflix special about about FaceTiming or starting to have phone sex. I don't want to give away any of his special. And he's like, when I say it, he's like, I see a lot of the men, the husbands in the crowd, laughing, but I almost don't get the reaction I want to. And I need to change my verbiage so it doesn't sound like I'm making fun of her for this, but it almost sounds like it's an excitement piece. And I was like, I didn't think there was that much into it. They all have their joke books. Right. They all have all of things about how it's delivered. And on the next show, he was he had changed just a couple of words. And in that, you got to see the ladies that were oh, this is funnier now. He's not making fun of her for this. He was just pointing at it. Right. And it's just small word changes.
That's amazing.
And he has this Excel sheet and docs about when he says it and the reactions and certain things. You're like, oh, more goes in. It's not just someone who's oh, I'm just funny. I go up there and everyone thinks I'm funny. For all the comics that were on there, the amount of work that goes into it and the amount of pride that he takes in, obviously every aspect of his work was just amazing to see someone who's does the party, does all this stuff, but then can create that environment through hard work. It's just I have nothing but amazing things to say.
Well, shout out to Bert.
I know. Big shout out to Bert.
Bertie boy.
Learning more about the interior workings of him is really cool for us as being fans, but also comics, man, they're a whole different breed of human being.
Absolutely.
You've also been on tour most recently with Jeff's favorite condiment,
gravy.
So I was on tour.
Young Gravy.
I was on the road when I was training Dylan Francis. He was the co-headliner. So I had already put him through a couple of workouts. He had reached out to me maybe a month ago, and he's like, hey, got a tour coming up. Would love for you to be on there, trainer, nutrition, all of that stuff. So I can't go the entire time. So I just flew to Nashville to get one of my other trainers, Street, introduce. His name's Street Horner. And he already got
sick name.
He already got a lot of
what a name.
He already got a lot of good nicknames from Gravy's DJ Tip. He spells Tip with 10 eyes. One of the funniest people that I've ever met.
What?
And so we went down there, got some workouts in. We talked about different nutrition protocols, what we're looking to do on the road, and that kicked off yesterday. The bus left, and so I'll go meet them on the 18th.
Where are they gonna be on the 18th?
They're Nashville the 18th. So actually I'm going to leave because Post Malone is on Wednesday. I think I'm going to leave on the 19th and go to Atlanta to meet him. He plays at Coca-Cola Roxy down in Atlanta.
Amazing.
Does anybody in that camp have a name that's not
ridiculous?
Young Gravy, Street Horner,
Tip with 10 eyes.
Is there like a Jeff down there? Is there a Mark down there? Is there maybe like a Joe?
There was the guitarist who usually produces his music, who's going on as the guitarist. His name is Christian.
Oh, we love that.
John Kelly.
I have all that because I had to when the group chat went out. It's like I have to save everyone's name early on, or else I'm just not gonna have anyone's name, and then I can't even put the name to like who sent the certain message. So I have all the names in there, but there were some normal ones. But
Did you spell it with 10 eyes?
I spelled tip of 10. I've had his number saved.
I love that.
That's awesome. It kind of looks like a wiener. Is that on purpose?
It could be, to be honest with you. You meet this guy. He dresses like Prince.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He has long, dark, beautiful hair.
I love this.
He weighs 115 pounds, soaking wet.
Legend.
Has never drank, has never done drugs, but he's just like, he's high off his own supply. He just does his own thing.
I love that.
We need Tip on this show.
You got to go. If there's ever a chance to go to a Gravy show, you have to go 10 or 15 minutes before Gravy goes on because he'll go out there and play the most sing-along songs. He's another one of the guys who has all the spreadsheets, documents, which areas to play which songs. And then he'll like pass out zebra cakes.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's like, oh, you guys aren't going to get all hyped up. He's like, I got something for you. He brings his little Louis Vuitton bag out there. He goes, who wants a 2-pack zebra cake? And everyone just goes nuts. And he's like showing it to one side.
Oh, yeah.
And just launching them out there, playing Stacy's Mom, playing
Yes.
all like the Sweet Caroline type of music of just sing-alongs. And people go nuts for it. He is a personality. He's hilarious.
First of all, who doesn't love zebra cakes? I
love
after school ripping some zebra cakes.
Oh. I was more of an oatmeal pie guy, but zebra cakes are up there.
Oatmeal pies are good.
Oatmeal cream pie.
Yeah, yeah. The funny bones are good.
Did you call it gravy in the middle?
An oatmeal gravy pie.
Oh my!
Oh, that sounds absolutely
No, I said
horrendous.
oatmeal cream pie. That's what it's called.
That's accurate. Jeff dips his in turkey sauce.
My cream pie?
What would you?
Oh, man.
How does Young Gravy's workout regiment differ from Bert's, or is there a difference?
It's pretty significantly different. Gravy doesn't have a lot of experience weight training. Bert is fucking strong.
Well, he's boys with Joe Rogan, so like,
Yeah, he's on testosterone for sure.
so like,
But he benched 275 when we were training together in, I don't know, some city. I can't even remember like which city, which gym was part of, but no, he is strong and he is actually fitter than a lot of people would like understand because he's consistently training. I can't take credit for the fact he's lost 45 pounds. You know, I was with him for a couple of months and, you know, we still stay in touch and talk about that, but he trains hard. Matt is kind of a natural. I mean, he's 6'7", so he's tall.
Young Gravy's 6'7"?
Yeah.
what the fuck?
What?
I would have never guessed.
From Minneapolis, Minnesota. Oh, yeah. And
6'7"?
another guy who is
monster.
You know, people see it. They're like, oh, he's got like the MILF songs. He just got lucky. He's just an idiot that got lucky. Like he plays to his brand and he is so much smarter than you like. He like leads people to believe. Awesome dude. Very good. Like business wise, very business savvy. But he doesn't have a lot of experience weight training. So it's more of like a crawl to walk to run with Gravy, where with Bert, it was like, how can we optimize your health via that you want to keep drinking and that you have a capacity to already train, which is actually more challenging because what I need to do with Bert is I've got to push him harder on workouts, but not so hard that he can't perform or he can't do his on-stage skits. Where with Matt, it's like even just some of like the lower intensity stuff is going to get him going. He's going to be sore the next day. And it's like, you know, it's a little bit of a smoother process.
Imagine if Bert came out and took off his shirt and he has a 6-pack.
He might after working out with.
Yeah.
He's down 45 pounds.
That's
Holy
awesome.
shit.
So the beer belly is like going away.
That's about the only thing that's still pretty prominent.
I was getting ready to ask the question, right? So if Jeff and I were to get absolutely yoked out of our minds, but we wanted to keep our beer bellies.
Do the exact same thing you're doing, just start training.
Hell yeah, dude.
I like that.
The only way you're going to lose that beer belly is if you take periods of time away from drinking beer or you know, consuming most of your calories. I've had one person who ended up like quitting boozing altogether that had like a huge beer gut to actually having visible abs. But outside of it, most of the people who are like love ripping beers are like, well, I don't want to get rid of this. I want to be as healthy as possible outside of it. And it's like you see Bert, and like he's got defined legs, strong legs, like his shoulders are like broad. He just does have.
I mean, you saw everything behind the towel.
Yeah, you saw the whole thing. He's got a strong lower body, is what I heard.
Yeah,
that's what
I would say so. Relative to mine.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Was the water cold?
yeah. Well, we need to know the temp.
That's always my excuse.
On the Florida-Bama line.
They were like, it's 92. I'm like, yeah, it's freezing.
You're like, it's colder on the Alabama side.
He was on the Florida side. I was on the Alabama side. Yeah. You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't understand. Yeah. Behind this towel tells a story.
Oh, man. Should we enter some AMAs?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hurley, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start off. And we got to give a huge shout out.
Yeah, massive shout out.
Massive shout out to Mr. Pat Diggins.
Pat Diggins, for weeks and weeks and weeks in a row, he even created a Instagram group with Jeff and I. I woke up one morning to being in an Instagram group, and I'm like, was I fucked up and I created this? I'm not really sure. No. He went out of his way to create an Instagram group, the three of us, and he will just what he calls his morning dump. But it's him releasing information into the Instagram about the podcast and other podcasts and everything while he's dropping a heat.
Yeah,
so a couple of these are from him, and we love him. Keep giving us the morning dump,
please. All right, the first one. What is proper nacho etiquette when sharing nachos, especially when it comes to that main nucleus of chips that hold all the cheese in the center? Do you take it? Do you leave it? When is it acceptable to go in and break it up? Conor?
I think people only utilize nachos with one hand, and that's selfish. I think when you get to that main part in there, if you two-handed, if you grab maybe like one from the other, granted, maybe you give a little bit more germs to one of those, like you can separate it. But yeah, I think I'm usually like a pick. I always want to get some meat. I want to get some cheese on there.
I like that.
But I think you start operating with two hands, and like, I mean, we have two of these things for a reason to be able to put those apart. Someone's like, oh, it's only one on here, and then it's awkward, and then like the other stuff are chips, which are also delicious. But I think two hands is the way to go on that.
I'm like a fork guy every once in a while. Right?
Wow.
So like
fork with nachos?
Yeah. Well, in order to it's first of all it's wild, but it's also a professional move. So if you grab the chip
and efficient,
and you put the fork in the other side, you can pull away what you need and leave the rest.
So that's kind of like what I'm saying, just a little bit more polite, so you're not putting your dirty hands, your dirty dick beaters on the right.
I'm putting these meat hammers on.
Dirty dick beaters.
Let's be honest. Our hands have touched more dicks than any woman who is walking around out there.
That's true, and mine don't have any calluses, so.
Not more in quantity, but just more times.
I was just doing the math there.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Oh God!
That was a masturbation reference. If you guys didn't pick up on that,
in case you were wondering.
Hurley, what about your nacho game?
I like Conor's approach.
Ooh, I like it.
The two knuckle shuffle on the nacho.
I'm never eating nachos.
only one dick on these hands.
It's only one dick.
Yes, one dick, but many, many times. Probably a couple times today.
Oh man,
valid point, dude. You don't pull it out to pee. What do? You just like drop it out the bottom of your shorts?
I think that's such a power move. I love if I'm like out at the bars, which isn't frequent anymore. I will go. I drop my pants all the way down, and then I lift my shirt like this.
Oh God, he's going pants off. Oh, here we go.
So I'll go down, and then I just lift my pants like this and just pee in. People get so uncomfortable. They either think it's hilarious, or they're like, "Oh, come on, man!"
Yes.
I'm like, "What? I don't want to get on my shirt." That's how my mom taught me. Call it kindergarten pee.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you get the splashback. You can't have the splashback. No.
Yeah, but your shorts are touching the pee ground.
No. It stays above. It's just like when you drop your pants to go poop, you don't put them on. You have your legs spread out far enough where there's enough slack where it's not touching the floor.
What kind of poops are you taking?
Yeah. You sit in AC Slater style on there and just unzip a hole in the back.
He's just in reverse. This is the only guy on the planet that straddles the toilet to take a dump.
Or just takes his pants completely off.
Just butt naked.
Oh, I know people that do that.
Every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. There's times when you're like, I know I'm going to have to shower after this one. So.
Yeah, you're like, this is going to get ugly. This one might end up looking like a crime scene.
All right. We'll move on to the next one. What is worse, seeing X with someone better looking than you or uglier than you?
Uglier. Oh, what is worse? Better
Yes.
looking, for sure. You don't want to see your ex with someone better looking than you.
I disagree.
Well,
That was my opinion. Sorry that it was stated as fact.
he's like, this is the answer, the end. I don't know. So my ex-girlfriend not my most recent ex-girlfriend, one of my ex-girlfriends of the past dates a guy that looks just like me.
Well, she has a type then.
So when I think about that, and I haven't even seen like any of my other ex-girlfriends, like significant others. So the only one that I know looks like me. So I don't even know how to answer that. But I would say I think I would want them to look better than me to make me feel good about my own looks, or at least me think that they look better than me.
I guess it may depend on why you broke up in the first place. But Jeff, let's get your answer.
It's because you take all your clothes off. This shit.
He just doesn't need to put his pants all the way down.
That's literally.
I'd rather have them. What's worse? I guess. Yeah, I'd just rather her be with like an ugly dude and be like, "You lost out on this handsome prick."
Yeah, that would be better, right? We talked about.
Yeah.
So the worst would be if they were with a dude who's just like, imagine it's just like, you know, you go into Big Night Live and your girlfriend's like, "Oh my gosh, been so long to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, this is my boyfriend, Shannon Sharp." And you're like,
here's a bag of ice.
oh, do you need a cushion for the seats?
You're on IR.
Dang it.
Hurley?
Yeah, I think it's worse to have the new one be better looking. Easy.
That's why you get jacked every time that you go through a breakup. Because you're like, I gotta make her jealous. That's why I stay jacked.
Do you have
that when my girlfriend breaks up with me, I have a head start.
You're just always prepared. Like, I prepared these 8 abs for this.
I just work out so I can have a girlfriend to break up with her.
No, she breaks up with him.
So I can be the guy who gets a more attractive girl.
Right.
Do you have you know what you should do? On Valentine's Day next year, you should have a breakup workout package. Look better than your new ex's boyfriend. And then it's just a bunch of dudes just, wow.
Actually, that's a
ripping
good.
through it.
Wait, what was that move?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that was on camera. It looked like I was just assaulting myself a little
You were
bit.
just separating nachos.
Separating nachos.
Oh, my God.
Mark, you want to answer?
Yeah. When is it acceptable to take the last piece of an appetizer left on a plate?
I do it every time because everyone feels so awkward about it. I just do it, and I feel like I'm maybe even doing a service to someone. It's like, you just take it instead of like, "Oh, you have the last one." Like, no. And then like, "All right, I'll split it." And then the one person who does get it, they're like, "Now I feel bad." Take it before it's even presented as the last one. Done.
100% with Conor. 100%.
I'm also following suit with Conor. I mean, if it's a very large group setting, I might just maybe say something. Hey, does anybody want this? Knowing that they're gonna all say no, and I'm just like,
Or if there's like 6 wings and there's 12 people and I've already had 4 of them.
yeah. Like, anybody else want to partake in this, or what's the vibe?
Hurley?
I think that's a good approach. Just mentioning, like, if anyone wants it, knowing that probably everyone's going to say,
You have
no,
it.
you're good, and then just eat it.
Agreed.
We got one more?
One more. Is a girl's 5 minutes getting ready the same as a guy's 5 minutes or more on a video game?
Ooh.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a sexual question. I'm like, who out here is lasting 5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I'm like a 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and 2 minutes and 10 seconds is me getting my clothes off.
Dude, it's efficient, right? If you don't need and you have a girlfriend that also can make it happen in that amount of time, it's efficient. Sorry.
I once saw a shirt that said 2 inches at 100 miles an hour gets the job done.
true.
But yes, back to the question. Is a girl's 5 minutes getting ready the same as a guy's 5 minutes saying that they need more time on a video game?
I may not be a good. I'm not familiar with like video game stuff. I don't play a lot of video games. I would imagine that a girl's 5 minutes is like 20 minutes.
Yep.
That's usually how that goes. So if I were to be, I guess for me it would be similar to being like, hey, when are you coming home from the bar? And you're like, we're just closing up.
Oh yeah,
I've just got my tab.
Way
like,
better
well,
analogy. I love that.
35 minutes.
I love that.
To get your tab. It's like, well, she was slow, and then Steve came in. We chatted, so we had to open it up. He bought the round, but we had to.
One more beer and I'll be home.
One more beer and I'll be home is the biggest lie in the history of the planet.
The thing is that I'm like, I got this beer. When I finish this beer, I'll be good. And then when the beer's over, I'm like, well, that feeling I had was when I had the full beer. So I think we should do that again.
I think it needs to
so
happen.
that I can remind myself.
100%.
Man, it's so fun to be out, and it's like you're not supposed to be, and not necessarily not supposed to be, but it's like the surprise nights where you're just having your all right, one more, and just that feeling. It's just like
One more, and then Jeff London shows up, and you're like, oh, now I get two more.
One more night. One more night.
we're not that drunk. We're not that drunk.
Into the water. I heard the Alabama side's warmer.
For sure.
Go right, break right.
break right.
Until next time, everybody, do the thing. Like, comment, subscribe.
Thank you,
Follow
Conor.
We love Conor. We'll link him in, and I'm sure we'll see you again.
Peace.
Thank you.